Yes, 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 yes! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of It's Not That Deep, bro! And we're back with another full-on course episode. Right now, we've got our own 24/7 studio alumni, Ellis Turner. How you doing, bro?
Pretty good. Not bad, not bad.
That's what I
Although
like to
I will
hear.
say,
That's what I like
I don't
to
know
hear.
what that word means.
What
word?
Alumni.
Alumni. So it's
Alumni.
like alumni is like an associated partner.
Wow, that makes me feel special. Thank
You're-
you very
yeah.
much.
You are
I'm
special.
special.
You're an
That's not
affiliate.
the first time I've
That's
heard
right.
that.
You're an affiliate.
That's right.
Yeah,
This
we've
is
got
episode 41, ladies and gentlemen. 41.
Ellis is in many bands. He's a man of many talents. He's in HeartSauce. He's in Dad Jokes. He's available on street corners, late night. It's a pleasure to have you here, Ellis.
Thank you very much. It is an honour to be here. You know I'm a very big fan of your podcast. I listen to it most nights.
Are you ready to hit the fucking Randy Master?
Yes, I'm
5,000,
fucking out.
motherfucker.
Can I
you
swear?
Are fucking
Fuck! Jesus Sorry.
like a fucking
sorry,
5-year-old getting told to fucking swear for the first time.
All right,
yeah!
let's fucking do it.
Let's do this. For you new listeners out
Randy
there.
Master.
This
Why is
is
it
the
called the
Randy
Randy
Master
Master?
5,000 because it randomly randomizes a film from our repertoire
That's clever.
that we have.
That's clever.
Okay? Do you know what I'm saying? Randy Master. It's been upgraded from 3,000 to 5,000 because we're moving up in the world, motherfuckers. Yes!
Yeah!
I am pumped today.
So,
I'm ready for this shit. Let's do this.
We're gonna do a countdown, Ellis.
Would
Okay.
you like to press the button?
I feel like Martin's energy's rubbing off on me already.
Good,
so,
good.
Would you like to have the honour of pressing the Randy Master?
It'd be an
we'll give
absolute honour.
Please.
Come
Thank you
forward.
very much.
So we'll
Here we go.
On the
you,
count.
You ready?
Not a moment later, not a moment too soon.
5,
Okay.
4, 3, 2, 1, and the film we are watching is
Oh shit. Okay. Oh fuck. Sorry.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Oh.
Doctor Strangelove. Okay.
Oh, this sounds good.
1964, Stanley
19
Kubrick.
Wait.
We're gonna have a fucking good time.
Wait.
We're gonna
Have you heard about this?
I have seen this film.
You've seen it?
It is. It's one of my
Wow.
favourite films.
Wow.
That's
Okay. How excited is it? Or are you not allowed to give any
I'm
details
very
away?
excited to watch this film.
Is the
with you
film
people.
exciting?
The
with
film
you
itself
people.
is there
You people.
With you people.
You people.
My good friends.
Sick of your shit.
I'm-
I am a person. I'm a human being. All right.
with my
He's a human being.
I'm excited to watch this film with my good friends. Go get yourself a copy of Doctor Strange by Stanley Kubrick and we will see you on the other side.
Peace out, motherfucker.
We're gonna have a coffee.
It's not that deep, Well, people, we are back at it again with another film done, dusted, and watched.
Doctor Strangelove.
That's right.
Oh wow, boys, we're here with Ellis Turner. We're hot off the heels of the Stanley Kubrick 1964 war epic. Let's jump in, Ellis Turner. What did you think of that film?
Well, if I was choosing to watch a film, I'm not sure if it would be my first choice. Although
It wouldn't be a
it
film
was-
that you'd naturally gravitate to.
No, I'm not.
Why?
Well, not that I'm like. Obviously, it's interesting, but I'm not super. I don't know.
Super
War
into war
war
films.
isn't.
So, like-
war films aren't my usual.
Go to.
Yeah, they're
Normal
not-
go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like this film has a satirical element.
Oh yeah, I prefer the comedy element than. Although it was interesting to learn about some stuff and like, obviously.
Any of these actors still alive?
Yeah.
There's the one guy that looked like a perfect mix between Christopher Eccleston and Tom Hanks.
That was the British sergeant. This film, one of the African American guys in the plane, is the voice of Darth Vader and Mufasa from The Lion King, James Earl Jones.
Wow.
Is he so?
An endless stream of information.
I know James Earl Jones is very old. I don't know if he's still alive, but
let's look it up. Come on.
Whilst I do that, Martin, what did you think of the film?
I had a very weird feeling about the comedy, and the whole like war never changes, and but I found it very funny. So
yeah, I mean it's a weird thing to mix war and comedy together, you know.
So James Earl Jones is still alive, and he's 90 years old, born in 1931.
Wow,
absolute madness,
magnificent.
And yeah, Dr. Strangelove shows what would happen in Stanley Kubrick's estimations if nuclear war were to occur circa 1955.
When did this film come out?
This film came out in the 1960s, but it's showing what happened directly after World War II, which was like the Cold War.
So it's based around some
real
idea of if it did.
Yeah, the people that grew up in the Cold War lived in constant fear that nuclear annihilation was coming. So in school, you'd be taught to get under your table if the bomb siren went off, and there'd be nuclear shelters, and it was this whole kind of trying to make nuclear annihilation seem fun for families. Like, everyone go down to the shelter.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a few shelters in back gardens. I mean, like,
that's
even still that are
preserved
today.
You saw how, like, stupid the codes are. Like, if you use this code, every single person in that section will go radio silent and nobody can talk to them and they have to bomb that place.
Well,
that's like the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
I suppose what I would say I love about this film is the fact that it brings politicians, military generals down to a level we can all understand, like a human level.
Yeah, because I can't imagine they actually act like very similar towards that.
But they like to give off, politicians and all. It's high-ranking stuff. There's an air of pomp and circumstance around politicians and whatnot. But I don't think it's true. We're all human. I think this film shows something closer to reality.
Yeah, but how crazy he went. Like, Jack Ripper.
Yeah, Sergeant Jack Ripper.
Yeah, he was like...
we learn.
Is this the guy that shot himself?
Shut the base down.
Oh, right. Okay, got you, yeah.
And
the fluids guy.
The fluids guy. Yeah, the guy that shot himself in the head, yeah.
Well, he explains it perfectly. He says...
Protected his fluids.
In the throes of sexual intimacy, afterwards, he had a terribly insecure feeling, and he decided that insecure feeling of for lack of a better word, post-ejaculation sort of melancholy, he decided that could not have originated within himself, and it must be those damn Ruskies.
It's that masculinity all over again, isn't it?
Exactly.
Taking my fluids.
Affecting my precious bodily fluids.
No.
So you can see... Like, I love how the military is portrayed in this film. All the military men are, like, so...
gun-ho about everything.
Well, yeah, they're so set in their ways and, like, aggressive about how they implement things, but then it doesn't take much to disturb them at all. Like, they get easily...
Very thin layer.
But they act so tough.
They are trained to be that robot.
But it's,
you know what I mean?
Buzz Lightyear is my favourite example of this like type of character, because he's meant to be this big tough spaceman, and all it takes is for Woody to tell him like, you're a toy, and he's like, don't you get it? I'm Mrs. Nesbit, and he's like wearing a hat and like just completely loses his mind. And it's like, you're meant to be this tough spaceman. Like,
I think it says a lot, you know.
it does about these military.
The manliest men are usually the
most insecure.
yeah.
Or those
Absolutely.
who are ready to show their bravado.
Goodbye, Rich.
Goodbye, Rich Cook. The ones that are most willing to show their bravado normally have the greatest insecurities.
Yeah, I from
Experience.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, just
I see.
of
All
being
right.
alive. That's
we
what
have
I've
all
noticed.
seen that,
Yeah,
definitely. And I love that that's shown. I love the dialogue between the president and the Russian prime minister,
Yeah.
and how it's almost like a boyfriend-girlfriend sort of dynamic.
Dimitri.
Oh, Dimitri!
No.
There's no need to get to be rash about this, Dimitri. We can.
It's a friendly call. Yeah, it would be a call if it wasn't.
And I get so sick of watching politics on the television like they don't have feelings like are shown in this film.
Well, it's the whole idea of, leadership should be like strong and
Strong and
strong and
directed
direct.
But really,
Yeah,
we're all like working with the same material. Like we're all human, and we like
Yeah.
to think that we're all very different within that. But
no, I think it's like when you grow to meet anyone and you get close to them, you find out they're the same. Any person that you viewed from a far point, and then they've came into your life, and you're like, oh,
from
God.
afar, they can enchant you. You
Yeah.
can like conjure up all these images about an individual, and they almost seem bigger than a person could ever be, sort of thing. And the closer you get to an individual, you get to a point where you're like, oh, it's the same.
They shit and piss just the same.
Yeah,
you
you're
know?
like
although that is not, it's not shown in film very often. It's hard to think of them going for a piss or a shit, or being like, actually, can I just leave this meeting for a second?
I mean, that's like a classic thing people say about films to like nitpick. Like, oh, I never see Superman go for a shit.
I would like to see Super. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know.
What?
Maybe.
Maybe. I
think-
feel like that's because it's never gonna show that.
No,
If
yeah.
you're gonna
I feel like it's implied.
I think
I
I completely agree with your point. It was nice to see people in, because this obviously is a very far away from any of whatever we do. I guess we're
we
Yeah,
do
yeah.
see them shit.
militant. But I don't know any people like that.
But the
Or like people that work in the military, or
the conversation that would go down between to sort like there's a certain sort of like, oh, that's big boy, that's adult stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But the conversations that go down are the same as the conversations like we'd have regarding
Yeah.
like setting this podcast up or negotiating any sort of situation, sort of thing. There's no magic. Like humans are humans, and we probably know like the scope of what conversation can.
yeah, that's it. Absolutely. Oh well, they probably have to keep up some. Well, who knows? Who knows what goes on in that?
Definitely.
Who knows?
What, in the army?
No, in the vast
And I love-
upper.
The complexes
Scale.
of
Yeah.
society,
Yeah,
right.
the upper echelons of
Yeah.
society.
The upperclassmen.
And I
Yeah.
love the British, like how British people, the British sergeant was portrayed. He's so mild-mannered and
Yeah.
compared to this
Do you remember his name?
I can't. This is the second time I've seen this film, but I don't retain
Martin.
his name.
Lionel
Martin,
Mandry.
who was your favourite character?
Uh,
Was there anyone you were drawn to?
I really like that fucking. Is it General?
Ripper.
No.
Oh, it's the guy with the mustache. I forgot his name. The guy that was there with the fluids guy. Wow. obviously.
No.
Oh, you
him.
mean
That's
the other army with the big board?
the one? Yeah, the one talking to the president.
Yeah.
But
His-
the
what's
big
his-
board, the big.
That's like
He made me fucking laugh.
That's such a
So much.
famous line, and his disbelief. That's what I mean. How they can be in this room that's meant to be the war room, and it's meant to be like the Pentagon, where there's all this technology and information, but it still just comes down to he can't come in here. He'll see the big board.
And they're like, what are they saying? Like,
What's funny?
I've never seen this much fighting in the war room.
Yeah, you're like,
It's so
what?
Oh,
That's
It's
what I was just
silly.
about to say.
It's
I'm
silly
like, what?
business. Yeah.
It's almost like being back in like school
Yeah.
and how problems are dealt with back in school to an extent, like on a real basic level. Like, gentlemen, stop acting so silly in the war room.
Weren't you telling me about this film that Stanley Kubrick had an award because they saw how...
No, okay, so Ellis,
Oh.
midway through this film, asked during... There's numerous scenes of planes flying through the sky.
Yeah.
And you asked,
If they were real.
do you think that's real?
Do you think they're real?
Now, that's an interesting question, because I'm assuming you asked that question because they don't look
They
very real.
do not look real.
No, they don't look real.
Like, you know, little...
Planes, yeah.
What do you call
Toy
them?
planes.
Like Airfix models. Airfix models.
Right, yeah, that's the one. Airfix models.
But the inside of the planes look pretty cool, didn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
They look like legit.
proper.
Yeah.
So, what happened there? I don't know what you know about Stanley Kubrick. He made films like 2001: A Space Odyssey, The Shining, Eyes Wide Shut, Full Metal Jacket.
I've only
Clockwork
just heard
Orange.
of his name today. Actually, I'm not.
You heard of any of those films?
I've heard of The Shining.
Yeah, so he's kind of well known, but he's probably my favorite filmmaker of all time.
Yeah,
Just because he gives a fuck about every single detail of what is happening.
it's crazy because back in, well, when was this? 60.
This was 64.
I mean, like everything with a lot of things going around there. There was well, it looked a bit more tacky. Whereas all the shots and everything was pristine. It was really nice.
I'm glad to hear you say
and
that.
even with the text and everything, it's like usually a tacky text would come in, but it was all pretty elegant. You know,
Kubrick's like a trendsetter
Yeah.
in that sense. He's anything he does looks pretty beautiful. But he also makes large strides in social commentary in anything that he makes. Like it's got a message that he's trying to like get across.
what do you think the message of this one was?
The message of this film is that all this sort of upper echelon society that's been made out to be put on such a pedestal and out of our reach, and we're the normal common people and all of that is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
And we are like people
We're all
across the board,
yeah.
sort of thing. The war room scene was going to end in the original cut with a custard pie fight. That's the level that he was on making this
So
film.
you've read up on this? And,
I know a lot
Yeah.
about this
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
The plane scenes that I was going to talk about, he asked the army, can I use the plane?
No way.
Like the actual one, B-52 bomber. The band B-52s named themselves after it. And they said no. Because if we were to show that plane on screen, the damn Ruskies would know what those planes look like.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
The big board.
So Stanley Kubrick thought, how am I going to get around this issue? And he bought hundreds of issues of flight magazines, plane magazines, that featured photos of these planes. And from photos of this B-52 plane, he reconstructed what the plane would look like from the outside and inside.
He's a madman.
That is
That-
insanity.
It is insane, but you know, the man loves his art, obviously.
The US government was so impressed by that feat that later on in his career he got to use. So when, I don't know if you're, you must have heard of the concept of the moon landing being faked
Yeah.
and being
yeah.
filmed. So Stanley Kubrick is the main contender for the filming of the moon landing.
What they think that he?
They think that he
Yeah.
directed it. So,
Wow.
and the reasoning behind this is because when they went to the moon, they filmed it, and that's the
Yeah.
footage that we all know. But because light's different on the moon, obviously camera lenses are made for Earth conditions, but on the moon, light works slightly differently. So, a lens has a thing called an aperture, and that pertains to how much light the lens lets in.
Yeah.
And that will be measured by what's called an f-stop. So like
Yeah. I know. Not a great deal, but I know a little bit about.
yeah. So the lower the f-stop, the more light the camera lets in, the lens lets in.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I think the lowest kind of commercial lens you can buy would be like a 1.2 aperture, maybe something like that. The lenses that the main lens company, Carl Zeiss, I think I don't know how you pronounce that last name, but they had to make special lenses for the Apollo crew to use, and they had like an aperture of like 0.4 or something like that, like the widest aperture ever made for these special lenses because of how bright the sun was.
Right, okay.
Stanley Kubrick then used these lenses in one of his films where called Barry Lyndon, which was set in medieval times, and he wanted to shoot scenes that were only lit with candles. And you'll know from filming that like you need like loads of lighting.
Yeah. That's
For some reason, lenses are like darker than the human eye.
That's interesting actually.
That is very interesting.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's because we like adapt to that situation. So
Yeah.
The eye, yeah.
And how does it look? How did it
can't.
look with the shots?
I
of the
mean,
candles?
it's an absolutely fantastically shot film.
Wow.
It's like twice the length of that film, and it's
twice the length.
it's like a 3.5 hour long film.
How long is he?
So
when was the last film he put out?
Kubrick's last film that he ever made? I just we've already covered it on this podcast, but I highly recommend anyone go watch Eyes Wide Shut.
I think I heard you talking about this the other day, actually.
Eyes Wide Shut's one of my favourite films of all time, and he made it in 1999, and then he died a week before it was finished.
So they finished it without him, sort of thing.
The only film of his that was finished without his final blessing.
Wow.
And it's about a satanic orgy at a high-ranking celebrity /
royalty
sort of situation, and it features Tom Cruise.
Slightly a different vibe to this.
Yeah, all his films have
just a little bit.
Yeah, they all have some sort of like social statement.
Yeah,
to sort of make, and then I suppose my last point about what I love about this film is just how frivolously nuclear annihilation is spoken about in this group of people. They're just talking about like millions, billions of people's lives. Like it's like
it's nothing.
It's like, well, we could get away with a modest death toll of 2.4 million.
I don't know,
compared to 150.
Do you think that's how they think? Do you think?
Yeah.
Well, you've got. I imagine to manage a country, you have to think about that when it's good and bad. So, like, if you're bringing in a new library system, you'd think, oh, this is going to affect 5.9 million children to become budding readers. But then if you were conducting a war, you're dealing with the same numbers, just
everyone.
Different things are happening to those numbers.
But like that's everyone, not like just children at least. Do you know what I mean? Like it's every person, child, whatever, mum.
Yeah,
dad.
I'm just saying that when you are running and managing a country, by the nature of it, whatever you do, you're dealing with a load of fucking people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really thought much about it, to be honest with you. You've opened up a
new door in your
Well, I thought it was interesting what you said at the beginning, like, because a lot of, obviously, as a young person coming into this world, especially like when I was growing up, the Iraq war was happening and stuff like that, but we don't really have like a war like that now to all focus on. So the young people of the world are very much like, fuck that war shit. Like, what's that? Like, even
carefree
like,
now.
Even
more carefree.
Focusing about war. It's like, why even bother doing that sort of thing?
Yeah.
And I get that
I'm
attitude.
definitely in on that attitude.
Yeah.
To some degree.
I completely understand that. But then the reasons why we had such a thing as a world war, it's pretty like important that we go back and pay attention to the human behaviour that led to that happening.
Absolutely.
To make sure,
yeah, there doesn't. If we can help it not happening again,
because we've just seen like literally something. All of that happened because of a male's insecurity.
Yeah, I mean, like we've got to the point now that because everyone has nuclear weapons. I mean, well, fingers crossed it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
because
and now people are way more greedy as well. Like before, like maybe back in the 60s or 50s, just after the war, people are like more conscious because they're like, oh, okay, it just happened like 10 years ago. We're gonna keep watch, and if it we don't want it to watch it again.
That's why
but
people were allowed to be so scared of Russians, like because as soon as World War II ended, it was like, now what? And the American government quickly shifted their focus from Germany to Russia because they were like the biggest power. So it was.
But right now, people are like, it hasn't happened in so long that they're more likely to be more greedy with it. They're like, oh, maybe if we just take them out anyway, we'll just get that piece of land. After a few years, it'll be livable again or all that shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's if it happens now, it's all gonna be to do with money, either that or
power. Yeah,
power.
Yeah,
Well, power.
yeah.
That kind of brings us round to the main the name of this film.
Doctor
Strangelove.
Which is weird because
Well, we've not spoken about this.
no,
character.
I mean, we haven't spoken about this character at all, actually.
Of course
which is
not, because he didn't even come into question like more than 50 minutes into the film.
I mean, I didn't think
All
much
of
of
a
him,
sudden.
to be honest with you. I mean, until he started doing that weird thing with his arm, I couldn't quite make out what he was trying to do. That's a lie. But
He must have had Tourette's. That
well,
must have
I
been
think
like
he was trying to
a
do
tick.
some sort of sign.
So
Well, he's saluting Hitler.
Yeah.
Because he's a Nazi.
So the whole background behind him even being at that table would be because of a very real thing that happened as the war ended. The US government initiated something called Operation Paperclip. And what that was, and the Russian government did the exact same thing. I've read it before, but I don't know the name of their operation. But the point of these operations were to scoop up what was left of the Nazi Empire in lieu of Hitler dying and the whole thing ending.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess the implication at this point is that the Germans, although they lost the war, they did have like better technology.
Yeah.
We just like managed to fucking stop them implementing that technology because they had something called the V1 and the V2 rockets, and they were the first ever rockets that you could type in a grid coordinate.
Okay.
And they'd just go there.
It'd go there, which is like using the first version of the internet.
Yeah.
And it is pretty
mad, yeah.
It's pretty out there tech. And that's just what we know about as well. There's a whole smattering of what they could have been working on.
Man, you got all the dark top secrets of the military with the paperclip.
So
you know what I mean?
The Dr. Strangelove character is based upon this premise that he was a Nazi scientist and he worked for them, and then he's come to America. There's a line of dialogue with the general where he's like, what sort of name is Strangelove? And he's like, it's changed. It used to be Goischlib or something, something like that. And that's in reference to Paperclip, that he used to be a Nazi.
So was he
It'll
trying
be a
to
fucking
was he
weird
trying to
name
infiltrate?
to fucking think
Like
about.
the-
Doctor Strange.
Well, I'm just going to show you this clip. Let's just, this is rarely something we do, show a clip. But,
Yeah.
I feel like it's relevant.
You should put that clip in the description of this.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to watch what we're about to watch, just type in Man in Space Disney, and what you will be greeted with is this.
Of course, to build a rocket ship. The second, and no less important, is to prepare and train the men who are to fly the future
Now-
rocket ships.
Compared to the unmanned instrument rocket, it is quite large.
Can anyone detect the accent?
Yeah, Canadian.
11 tons
No.
Isn't it?
No.
top section.
Oh, wait.
This weight dictates the amount of fuel.
German.
The numbers of motors.
So this is a Disney production.
Right.
1955. The man you are looking at is called Werner von Braun. And in 1955, he is stood at Disneyland presenting Walt Disney's Man in Space, talking about how America will reach the moon by 1960. In 1935, he was the head of Penny Monday's rocket factory in Germany, which regularly hung Jews outside of the factory.
And here he is standing on
There he is.
talking
And
about rockets.
He was responsible for putting us on the moon.
Whoa.
So that kind of puts everything into
Perspective.
sort of question, doesn't it? That character Dr. Strangelove is based on Werner von Braun as a whole character.
And this, you researched into this, and that's what people have, or
Yeah, definitely.
was it just
No. Stanley Kubrick will talk at length about Paperclip
right? Okay.
and the whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
Kubrick's very sort of read up on those more hidden elements of World War II.
What do you think about that situation?
Which situation?
This guy.
Oh, this guy here.
Yeah, this guy
right.
here, yeah.
Okay.
What do you think about Werner von Braun?
Yeah, like the whole.
I don't think he should be doing shit for Disneyland.
We wouldn't have been on the moon, though.
Oh, that's true.
You know?
Oh, I mean, we would have got on the moon at some point.
So should we have applied his talents?
I don't know. This is a very good question.
It's a very human. Like that's something that somebody had to
don't know.
deal with.
Oh, imagine
At some
having to deal
And
with
be like,
that.
what do we do?
I'd be like, oh, God.
Because he hung Jews.
He shouldn't. No, he shouldn't be. He shouldn't have had these opportunities. Like he should be in prison. Or
But then, and it's a difficult position to put yourself in, because there's
get someone else to put us on the moon.
The
It probably would
word-
have been better.
the word Nazi is a very triggering word in the sense that, like, you can watch like a Louis Theroux documentary on the modern day Nazis, and they're all Southern American people.
Yeah.
But the Nazi of like actual Nazi Germany, you've got to think that when they became a Nazi, there was no preconception of a Nazi. So it was like this new thing. It's like a political movement coming
Yeah.
in, and you'd be
Oh,
like,
absolutely. Yeah. Like,
be
it
like,
was.
oh, the Nazi Party, and you'd have to make an honest decision whether
Yeah.
you were going to become a Nazi or not.
Because I
But
mean,
if
the
you-
Nazi Party started before all of the shit.
It was running like the 20s.
Yeah.
It was-
So
it
like
was-
before then, it was probably just.
But
it was
maybe
just a
then-
party, wasn't it?
Yeah, but maybe then they were like, if you don't,
It's all the-
they'll want to join you. It's like, okay, cool. You give them time. Then once you have more power, and then obviously when Adolf Hitler took over,
Well, that's kind of
Whatever.
what happened is that they gained large numbers of people and didn't have very sort of harmful policies. But once they gathered a large amount of people, then they just flipped the whole thing. That's when like
Yeah.
the fucking ghetto started happening,
and then they said, oh, maybe then that's when they said to this guy, oh, if you don't join us, we'll kill you.
well, that's the whole thing about like people like von Braun. It's like he lived up until like 1980 in America as a citizen.
That's mad. I
So-
wonder how he felt about things.
Well, I mean, not to get too deep, but we talk about this stuff off mic. I won't go too deep into it, but the apparent assistant of Werner von Braun is a lady called Carol Rosin,
Okay.
and she is a huge advocate for UFOs. And she says that Werner von Braun was very read into all of that.
No way. Really?
She's a crazy lady. I've seen pictures of her and that man together. I can
Right.
say that.
That's pretty mad.
Whether what else she says is accurate, I don't know. But she definitely did know that man. And that
Yeah.
man definitely put us on the moon. So it's pretty...
And he was interested in UFOs, was he?
Wow.
Did he mention the old Tic Tac?
No, this is way...
Tic-Tac.
This is way...
Tic Tac.
This is way before Tic Tac. We're talking about...
When was the Tic Tac footage? I have no idea, so I could be.
What is the Tic Tac
I've shown
footage?
you like
Oh, the thing moving around.
FF-17 Super
Yeah.
Hornet footage of the USS Nimitz UFO Tic Tac encounter was shot in 2004 in August.
Oh right, far off then. He
Yeah.
didn't even make it. He didn't
There
make
is
it.
a whole mythos around Nazi UFOs, and the idea
Nazi
that
UFOs. What's next?
that's a whole
Oh, bloody
that's a
hell.
whole world of
Why are they
Oh.
UFOs?
well Nazi disc-shaped craft. Okay, and I can even substantiate these claims. There was you ever play Medal of Honor
Medal of Honor.
on the PS1 and
I
2?
think I did actually.
They're like pre-Call of Duty war games.
Medal of Honor. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Medal of Honor Front Line the last level of that game, you steal a experimental aircraft that the Nazis were working on called the Horton Ho.
Okay.
And you know how you see stealth bombers and they're shaped like triangles? Those triangular planes. They look quite new, don't they?
Yeah.
The Germans were working on them like back in the 30s. They were just testing out experimental aircraft.
Right, okay.
So we know that for a fact. Like, we know that they were working on, like, aircrafts of shapes that, like, the British and the Americans weren't thinking of, sort of thing.
Not your usual type.
So that's public information, and that has led to these rumours of disc-shaped aircraft and such. They definitely also had those rockets and that could be grid coordinated. And I shall also point out that the first ever photo of space was when the Americans captured these Nazi rocket bases and they strapped a camera to one of these rockets that the Nazis had built and flew it into space. So there's a load of stuff that, like,
It's complicated, isn't it? A lot of shit went on.
there's a load of stuff that wouldn't have happened had those people
Coincided.
not done what they'd done, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
we're in a position now where we're all, like, benefiting from.
The chaos.
But I mean, like, surely it was only a matter of time till it happened anyway. You
Well,
know what I
someone
mean?
was gonna do it, weren't they?
We
Yeah,
were obviously going to
definitely.
go on the moon anyway, but then
And someone was definitely going to do it. And
We were in the way, but like if the whole like war didn't happen,
'Cause it
would have probably been Germany.
that's
I
what.
would have.
yeah, because I mean, I
done it
guess
first.
there
They
was-
would have,
Everybody
yeah.
was fighting towards being the first country on the moon.
Yeah,
weren't they? Like,
yeah.
it was this- but I guess that's the whole the thing with capitalism and everything else. That it's the competitiveness that makes you progress happen quicker.
Well,
I suppose.
yeah, there is that sort of idea of. It's interesting because post World War II, obviously, like in Britain, we think that we won World War II. You know, that's like I could say that in a pub and everyone would go, yeah. But, do you know what Sputnik is?
I've heard of that name.
Sputnik
Sounds-
is the first object to be put into space by humans.
Right. Okay.
And the Russians did that first. They were the first ones to put an object in space. That's before we put a man on the moon or anything like that. Now, that caused in the UK what was called the Sputnik crisis. And that was the British people.
Sputnik crisis.
Yeah. So the British people didn't think that Russia
It
were
sounds
capable of such a thing.
sounds like a shortage of potatoes.
It does. You read my mind right there.
That's an Irish thing.
Finally, some sense.
That's an Irish thing. But the British people thought so much of themselves. We just won World War II. Like, we are big dad.
Ego.
We're Billy Big Bollock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God complex.
And then
on.
Russia just put something.
My dad's bigger than you.
Yeah.
And then Russia put something into the sky, and we're all like, "What?" And that is why you can see like this big fear of Russia in this film because
Yeah. And the propaganda, I suppose. About vodka. They only drink.
I love
drink
the
water.
whole
They drink
joke
water.
on the internet about Russia is like, in Russia, you don't drink vodka. Vodka drinks you.
I've seen a lot of
Like-
Russian people drinking vodka on the internet, but that's not me.
Well, it is
Yeah,
there.
I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen
There's
them
no
do some
smoke.
crazy shit.
There's
It's quite
no-
entertaining.
There's no smoke. There's no smoke without fire.
It's true.
That's what I think.
And there's no fire without smoke.
Hang on.
Think about that one.
What?
Could be.
I don't
could
think
be
that's
a lie.
true.
That's
I don't
not
think
true.
that's true.
You can do it
Take
right
that,
now.
Take that one home with you.
You've got smoke in your pocket right now without
Yeah,
fire.
but it's not smoke, is it? It's a.
That's vapor. That's completely different. Completely different state.
Potato.
Okay, so you
okay?
start lighting something. If you smoke comes out instantly. Which came first, the smoke or the fire?
The smoke of the fire. It's a very good question, Alice. I like that.
The fire, obviously.
Fire.
I like that realm of thought. No, it's not obvious.
Why?
Because it's an instantaneous.
Actually, maybe it's smoke. We should test it. Ellis.
Well, what I was going to say is I'm glad that you, in watching this film, you can see that, number one, politicians and all this big boy adult stuff that we've been taught to be like scared of as young people in this world, or not scared of, just like it's above us.
Although I'm thinking like being born into a class and then being put in a very powerful position would definitely have an effect on your ego.
And how you...
So who's to say that they're not all bigged up and like they're like they probably live their life much different to the way that we live our lives, which
Very
is
true, but then to have something like the sergeant's insecurity after sex.
Oh, absolutely. As in the essence of a human being. Yeah.
The essence of it,
being
yeah.
a human being. Yeah, that doesn't change. I can't imagine. Anyway.
That's why I think this film is like a must-watch for anybody. Because people can live in such fear of the powers that be, sort of thing. But they're just fucking human. I mean, to be honest, our current Prime Minister is a
lizard. He's a lizard. All right, I'm just going to say it. I've seen him. He's got a zip on the back of his neck.
He's got a tail. So
whatever he is, he's a pretty good indication that we are all just human.
Absolutely, but maybe it'd be better if we wore that on our sleeves.
On our sleeves a bit more.
It's, you know, because
how would we do that?
Well, hiding it creates these like insecurities.
Hiding that we're human.
If we just owned up.
No, hiding that we're not human and trying to be something like a god, like a military or a prime minister.
Because I mean, like, my favourite prime minister I know of is the New Zealand prime minister. She seems very down to earth.
Very adept.
I've never seen her talk.
From face value, really. I haven't done much research, but like, she seems very down to earth. So it shows that you don't have to put on this act of strength all the time. Obviously, she's very strong. She's possibly a very strong leader or whatever, but the way that she holds herself is not like...
She's very adaptable.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's not that typical politician. I mean,
to
be honest...
She's a mum as well, so...
It's what I'm looking for in a politician.
That's what I'd look for in... If anyone's going to lead the country, I'd want them to, you know, just...
The thing is, you want a lot in a politician, because I want someone that excites me, but then to only want that, you result in a candidate like Donald Trump, and I don't want that. So I want them to excite me. I want them to be a relatable individual, but then if they're too relatable, you've got Boris Johnson, so I don't want
But then again,
that.
wouldn't it be good if they were just a normal person that doesn't have all the thrills? Maybe they are literally a deadpan, not so neurotic
But
person
to some
that's
people...
like, just got that just logical, but then
to the whole like middle class of fucking Britain, Boris Johnson is that person. Boris Johnson just doesn't identify with all the young people.
Yeah,
that's like that. So
because he's a bit silly, man. Well, obviously not at the minute. He's very stressed.
He's very stressed right now. But
he's,
original
Boris,
he
can't show that side to him at the minute.
Going down on the zip
what's
line.
He doing? Yeah, doing. Or kicking a child over. He can't have any of that at the minute.
No, it's all got to be very...
Yeah, it's got to be...
looking dead into the camera while he's got a needle in his arm.
Tired. I'm tired.
What I think is thinking about the perfect prime minister is impossible.
It's silly. It's a silly thing.
It's
I just
impossible.
wanted to ponder on
it's
it.
like looking for the perfect woman. Like that's just impossible. That is.
Well, I like
you know
to subscribe to the idea.
You know what I mean? Like,
agreed.
Agreed. This is.
You think you know. You think you know.
I know what you mean.
Maybe we should accept Boris. Accept him for all his flaws and frills.
We did choose him.
I think
I didn't choose him.
I've not voted in a long time, but
I didn't choose him. The majority of us did.
I believe in a sort of council.
There's wiggles, though, isn't there? There's wiggles.
I believe in a council.
Democracy.
Sort of approach. You know, like a council of elders that should rule society.
With robes and sticks.
Something like that. Just
something along those lines.
A group that should rule instead of one individual. And a general consensus should be come to. But I'm not...
It's not gonna happen.
I don't know. I don't know.
You could
try
a political candidate.
I don't enjoy anyone telling me that's not going to happen.
What?
Normally, when people tell me that's not going to happen, that becomes a mission objective to make that happen, just to prove that.
But I think you can. So, like...
Look, let's not...
I mean, I think you can. You got that fucking... The speech. You've got the voice. It's just... It would happen.
Let's not.
You don't have to do it, but I'm saying...
I mean, you got to try.
Yeah.
You got to put your fingers in.
You know what I'm saying?
That's phase
You
3
just
of my plan.
Yeah.
I'm only in
Dip
phase
in.
1 right now.
Dip in and out.
By
Well-
saying this, we've...
Ellis.
Yeah.
Well, hang on.
Go on.
I was just about to say, by saying this, we've... what's the word? We've compromised his 3-step plan.
You actually have.
I'm sorry.
Compromise.
No, you actually know what the third step of my plan is.
Yeah, I mean...
It involves putting a microphone into the stratosphere and trying to record all the people.
I thought it was the Bible, the film.
It's
There's
crazy.
that.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
there's that. That's phase
It's
2.
Phase
That's
two,
phase
nice.
Phase 2.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
We're in phase 1, music.
Yeah.
Audible. That's the
Right.
sense I'm attacking now. Then I'm going
Phase
Go through all the
two.
senses.
Yeah.
Religion.
I'm trying to bring an attack upon people's senses.
Touch. What are you going to go for that one?
The fluids.
Well, that's like the third one where I'm going to put a microphone in the sky and get everyone to physically be involved in an experiment.
What about the 6th sense?
Now that we will
What?
only find in death.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for more.
Martin, give us our, your closing spiel.
Give us a rundown, Martin.
Look, you both need to calm the fuck down.
Sorry. I'm sorry, mate.
Yeah, look, mate.
Look, mate. I'm
look,
sorry. I've
mate.
had a couple beers,
Look, mate,
yeah.
You've had a couple
I've
beers.
had a couple beers.
Been a bit rowdy.
And I'll make-
okay?
I've had a bit of
Bradley's
a...
here.
Yeah,
I'll
our mate Bradley's here
coming
now.
out. Bradley's a guy that comes
Look,
about.
look, mate.
when
Look, mate.
You've had a few.
I just want to
Maybe-
know what, like, your closing thoughts of the film
Come on,
was,
mate.
okay,
Yeah,
mate?
come on. Don't be stink, yeah. Don't be sad,
Don't
yeah.
be silly. Just tell me what your closing thoughts of the film.
This is audible drivel. What did you think of the...
What's your closing thoughts? What
My
would
closing
you tell
thoughts.
the
All
people
right,
out there?
this is my baseline thought. Okay, here we go. Film was in black and white. I don't feel much about that. That's the first thing that came into my head. The film, I enjoyed it. I don't regret watching it at all. I think it was great. I thought it was relatively funny in parts as well. I've learnt from this conversation, from having watched the film, and that was a great experience. I'd say I'll give it, the film itself, a solid 7. But I am quite critical.
It sounds like your initial impression... It sounds like you've superseded your initial impressions at any rate.
Yeah.
So, like, black and white, old film, you were like, well, this could be, like, actual shit.
Yeah.
But you've come away with something.
Absolutely.
So that's like...
And I feel like, for me, if you can come away with anything from a film, that's a good thing.
I thought
you know?
you'd like watching politicians acting silly.
Yeah.
That was what I thought Ellis would get from this
And it
film.
was a great film. You know?
What was your
Great film.
closing thoughts? Jacqueline?
No, you go next.
No,
What do you mean? No, it's not taking in turns.
I got something planned.
He's got a big finale.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, as Ellis was saying earlier, it wouldn't be my pick of the litter if I was to watch a film,
Meow.
but it was solid comedy. I would also give it a 7 out of 10.
I'm glad that you found it funny. I love, because obviously when we first started doing this podcast, you kind of general vibe around older films, anything pre-2000, you were kind of like, I don't really want to watch that. But I feel like we've broached into...
Yeah.
I've shown you some films from that era that stand up today, sort of thing. Or at least watchable.
But like at the same time, it's... I'm still sort of in that like space, but I will do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it's for a podcast, I just want to see what my
You do anything for a podcast, really.
That's
wouldn't
right,
you?
yeah.
There's nothing you have to do.
And don't you forget it, okay? Anyway,
Made you smile.
definitely made me smile, and it was more.
Made you
like-
smile. It made you
Yeah.
smart.
No, smile.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
putting that into the whole situation of it being like a military thing, it felt good. That's all I gotta say.
Agreed.
What did you think, Olin?
Go on.
I'm really happy that I got to watch this film with my friends, and I'm also really happy that I get to talk about it to you wonderful listeners, because it displays a couple of things that I inherently believe on an everyday basis and that I think about. Number one is that the upper management of not just this country, but probably the country you're listening in, wherever you are, although, yes, there's probably lots of wonderful things that are brought to you via your government, they are still all humans, and problems are solved in the exact way that you solve problems on an everyday basis. So there's no magic to any of these people, these characters that you see in the media or in the press. They are human just like you. And then number two, just thinking about a character like Dr. Strangelove, the idea that we as people from the UK won the world wars, or that Britain is in any way a sort of superior country due to its monarchy or standing in the world, might not be as secure and true as one might think.
We're very little, aren't we? Very little.
Well, we're only a tiny little island,
Yeah.
and I think we've overcompensated for
We
that.
have. Yeah, I agree.
I also think we've not been
Yeah.
hot shit since like 1980.
Yeah.
Like that was the last scramble of Britain actually having like some sort of discernible power, and now in
Now we're pee pee
2021,
poo poo.
it's fucking dying, and good riddance. Like we're moving into a new sort of era of what it means to be British, and it's really exciting. But yeah, that's why I was really excited about this film. But we normally end our episodes here at It's Not That Deep, Bro, with a musical number, and having someone like Ellis Turner in the room with such a musical repertoire available. He's in HeartSauce, he's in Dad Jokes, and when we had Dan, your fellow bandmate, on in both those bands,
What did he do?
well, we requested a brand new Dad Joke song.
Okay.
And that podcast will actually be going out on Wednesday, and I think they're finishing that up. Well, you
Wait,
guys are
what's
finishing
this?
that up. Yeah, we're debuting a brand new Dad Joke song on Wednesday.
Oh, right. Yeah, you are. Nice. Oh, fucking hell. Better get it started.
Well, it's the one you've been working on, I think.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Yeah.
But
Cool.
what I was going to ask you for this episode is that I know that you, well, I think it's you and your drummer in HeartSauce that puts the most time into these compositions. But I know that you do jazz covers of your songs in HeartSauce.
That you've done your research. You have.
Yeah,
You know.
He always gets his research.
And this
in,
is
bro,
like
every time.
on behalf of-
every time.
It's like a deep cut from
I like it. We need more people like you in the world.
from the HeartSauce Dad Jokes universe. So I would love
A reharmonization of one of our
a
songs.
reharmonization of one of your songs to end this episode out with.
On behalf of Ewan and behalf of the rest of the gang, I would be absolutely honoured to assist you with that.
I mean, it's up to your. It's up to you which one you choose.
Okay.
So, it'll be listed in the episode's description. But yeah, go check out HeartSauce. They are the band that performed the original of what you'll be hearing and the new jazz version. And then go check out Dad Jokes, who are some rabble-rousing...
It's naughty boys.
It's
hitting
naughty boy
pants.
music, really. Isn't it? Yeah, so you've got the smooth sounds of HeartSauce and the rabble-rousing of Dad Jokes to go enjoy. Check that out on Instagram and Spotify and all the places where you might want to check out the people that make music in your life. And just thank you so much for having you on, Ellis.
Thank you for having me. Honestly,
thank
it's
you.
been
We
great.
appreciate
I hope
It's
you've
been great.
enjoyed it.
I've had so much fun. So much
I'm
fun.
glad
Thanks.
you have. 'Cause I
Thank
did
you as
too.
well, Martin. Thank you, Martin.
Oh, you're
Thank you,
welcome.
Olin.
It's okay. It's a mutual thank you. I get it.
We're all fine.
That's
fine.
it.
You're
That's
fine.
it.
I'm fine.
fine
It-
and
what was that off? What was that? The film we
Yeah.
watched? All right.
So
You're fine.
and
I'm fine.
I think-
and you're
Oh,
fine.
it's so
and I'm
great that
fine.
we're all fine.
I
You
think
know.
this film's going to grow on you guys.
Yeah.
You'll see how much it sticks with you.
I like a film.
Yeah, I like a film.
I like
yeah.
a film.
don't
Yeah.
mind a film.
Yeah.
Let's
A
end it
bit
with
of a
fucking
film
Bradley,
nerd
yeah,
myself. Yeah.
It's a great film.
Yeah, I might watch another one at some point.
Yeah, maybe. That's a possibility.
I've been Oland. Please check me out on Spotify and Apple Music and Oland_ on Instagram for everything that I've got going on music wise. Martin,
Do some skipping, aren't you, Martin?
I am.
Still on the road.
I am on the road to world champ. Still, you can follow me. I'm Martin Duverge. That's DUVERGE on Instagram. And follow us on our Instagram account at MIPLTD. We also got a website, MIPLTD.org, to tell us what we're doing. So just come over, see what we're doing, see what's coming in the future. We'd love to hear all your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what you thought of the film. What's going on? And
Keep on keeping on.
Yeah, and on that note,
any words
peace.
of wisdom from Ellis Turner?
You can fool them. You can fool some of the people some of the times, but you can't fool. Wait, what is it?
What?
Do you know?
You can fool
Some of the people some of the times,
but
you can't fool all the people
All the time.
all of the time.